Okay, welcome to episode 3 of Mic'd Up Exploring the Hidden Game. I'm really pleased to have Ross Norfolk, head coach of the University of Essex on tonight to talk about their game against the University of East London. How are you, Ross? You okay?
I'm well, thanks, Mike. Thanks for having me on. It's going to be good fun to get into this game.
Yeah, sure. So a little background into Ross. So Ross is the head coach of the Essex Rebels National League side. As I previously mentioned, head coach of the Essex Blades Buck side. Also team manager of the GB Seniors from 2016 to 2019. And you mentioned that you were at Eurobasket 2017. What was that like?
Unbelievable experience. To be in a competition like that. Be involved with those sort of teams and those sort of players, those sort of coaches. Unbelievable experience. It's quite funny. I actually missed the 2 first games of that tournament because I had food poisoning.
Oh,
so I was completely out. So I was just in my hotel room for like 3-4 days out because I had food poisoning. Yeah, so it was crazy. But yeah, unbelievable experience.
Brilliant. Thanks for sharing. Okay, so we'll go straight into the game. Going into it, what was your game plan?
Game plan really was to play with pace, with good spacing. That's one of the things that we've kind of thrived on for the season. We predominantly played 4 out, 1 in with Lee inside, four guards. Play at speed, play with good spacing. Defensively, our game plan was to disrupt and constantly put them under pressure. Hopefully that will come out in this point of the game. Pace and space was the main thing.
And how do you look to disrupt? You said that was one of your key changes.
Yeah, we with 4 guards, we were constantly trying to put them under pressure in the game, and you'll see shortly, we want to try and get into a kind of 2-2-1 press pretty much the whole game. Constantly getting them thinking about what they've got to do against us. And what we done was a big game plan of ours was to rebound everything. Rebound offensively, defensively, and once again, that's just putting pressure on them to do something about it.
Your plan worked definitely on the rebounds. You out-rebounded them by 9, 47-38. With 14 offensive rebounds. So yeah, that's fantastic. With the matchups, you have, I wouldn't say you have a small lineup, but you did talk about having 4 out, 1 in, and UEL have Brandon Peel.
Yes.
How did you go about dealing with him?
With Brandon, obviously, he's a difficult matchup for anyone, and what we tried to do was limit his touches, of the ball, and try and just get him to take tough twos, as much as possible. Tough twos, guarding his face, and we would switch on him. We would try and front him to stop him from getting the ball initially. He's a tough matchup, but we knew going into this game that he would get his numbers, and it's really about limiting everyone else.
On that last possession, you're feeding the ball inside to Lee Hodges.
Yes. Yeah.
What are you looking for others to do off the feeding into the post?
Yeah, so Lee's a big part. Lee can really pass the ball well out of the post. So what we try to do was have movement off the initial pass, and then everyone else space out to allow him to either go to work himself, or then we would try and cut off it, screen away, and like I said, he can pass out of the post really well. So it was a good game, good part of our game plan, really, to get the ball to Lee and try and play out of Lee as much as possible.
For those watching, Lee Hodges is number 13 in black. We just talked about Brandon Peel. He's 15 for blue. Now, you've had a great start. It was a 9-0 run, and they took an early timeout. What are you expecting them to do?
I'm expecting them to change it up defensively, maybe change it up with a bit of a zone, and maybe try and put us under a little bit more pressure. disrupt us a little bit more. Like I said, we're trying to go through Lee, and then maybe that they were trying to stop that and limit that. So yeah, it was more a case of them trying to suss that out quickly for us to organise ourselves, after that.
Mm-hmm. I remember watching this game back. Here we are in this 2-2-1, which I think works terrifically with the four guards. What are you looking to do? What are you looking to get out of that 2-2-1?
Yeah, it's really just to slow their pace of their play down. Really, it's a concept that we use with stealing time, not necessarily the ball. So try and take time away from them. And for me, it's one of those ones where instead of them just walking the ball up the court and maybe setting up their actions and stuff like that, I'd rather them be working to try and set up their actions. So yeah, if we're in this 2-2-1, they've got to be thinking, how am I going to get out of it? How am I going to pass out of it? And it'll be a time where they may catch it outside their cylinder and it slows down their play. So that was really the concept behind it, stealing time, not necessarily the ball every time.
I really like that point about stealing time rather than stealing the ball. What would you say is a measure of success of stealing time? Getting them down to 17 seconds on the shot clock, or?
Yeah. Well, the thing, if I can get them, if we can get them into a half court situation, with 18 seconds rather than having 22, 21 seconds, that's 3 seconds is vital. So for us it's one of those things where if we can steal the time, disrupt them that way, it gets them out of their offensive rhythm.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Okay, brilliant. Yeah, I'm a big fan of that 2-2-1. I've seen you play against Bournemouth as well with it, and really fantastic part of your structure. Just moving on to offense now. I've noticed with your transition, obviously with four guards, one of them's getting the ball and the other three are out running. Are you looking for one dribble and out, or are you looking for a guy to dribble it up the floor?
Obviously, if there's a guy ahead, we want to try and pitch ahead and get straight into our attack like that. But we have kind of some other actions that allows us to get into something like drags and stuff like that. So dribbling up is obviously an option for us as well. But yeah, if we can, we want to push the ball ahead and try and get them on the back foot straight away and get into a bit of our dribble drive action. We called it Papa this year. Pass, attack, pass, attack. So yeah, it's one of those ones where I think it's that in their head. They get used to that pass, pass, attack, and then hopefully we'll create some opportunities to score out of that. So that's one of the things that we try and look for straight away.
Oh, fantastic. No, I think that's great. Definitely going to use that. So, what shots are you happy with that as your offensive principle?
Any open ones, any open shots. But I mean, it's one of those things where I want the guys to make their own decision, and get them to understand what is a good shot and what is a bad shot, and a lot of the time is if we can push the ball up the court and create that advantage early, it's their choice and their decision then to make the right option from there. If you're open, shoot it. If you've got another drive on, take the drive. If someone's open underneath the basket, pass it. It's as simple as that, really. So so we're constantly trying to look look for open shots, open threes if we can. We shoot a lot of threes, with four guards on the court, and the mentality of offensive rebounding as well. So we try and shoot a lot of threes and put the pressure on that way.
Yeah, that was going to be the next point. By the looks of it, everyone has a license to shoot, and you shot 37 threes in this game, which is an incredible amount. But when you shoot at 41%, you've got to be happy with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's one of those ones where I think we put a lot of emphasis in our kind of skill development and player development side of our program. Is that we pretty much all just do shooting all the time in all of our workouts. It's shooting, and obviously that gives us confidence in games that look we've shot the ball a lot this week, or we've shot the lot over the season. So yeah, it's kind of, and we've got some good shooters on our team in this one. Like obviously Sam, Tom Childs, Rory, Marsa. So we got guys Jordan Gray can come off the bench and shoot it as well. So we got some guys that can really shoot the ball. So yeah, it's one of those things.
Never give Lee the green light to shoot a three, or is that
Hey, I'd let Lee shoot it. If he's that open, I'll let him shoot it for sure.
fair enough?
He does it in practice and he makes them. So yeah, no problem.
Fair enough. So we were just talking about what shots you want on offense. What shots do you want them to take on defense?
Yeah, it's one of those ones where we're trying to limit them getting to the basket, and obviously we don't want open free, so we say the tough twos. We want them to take tough twos, and in times of kind of when it's coming down to the short clock situation, tough twos force them to take a dribble off and take that shot rather than then getting to the basket or having some open free. So yeah, tough twos is one of the ones that we're looking for.
Okay. Thank you. And with their offense, obviously they'll have certain actions. Are you aware of their actions?
Yeah, so yeah, we've played them for a couple of years now in the Bucks Premier, and I've coached against Dave before. So they run like a motion, where they get the ball to the sideline ball screen with an empty corner, and then they try and isolate kind of Brandon there as well. And they try and just play out of a ball screen there. They ran a couple of pistol actions as well that we kind of were aware of. So yeah, so it's pretty much for us. We prep for them to run in their motion, get into the sideline. So we looking at our ball screen coverages and stuff like that for that. So yeah.
Okay. And you've brought Rory Winter on, number 10. And I think one of your strengths from watching this game back is your subs. You always remain in the 4 out 1 in system. That must have been great to have all year.
Yeah, absolutely. It gives us a bit of stability, and everyone knows where they are, especially in this 4 out 1 in, and then even in this press. Out of those four guards, essentially, it doesn't matter which two are at the top or which two are in the middle. So for us, we could interchange and have different groups of people playing together. And for someone like Rory coming off the bench, I think he thrived on that a little bit in the Bucks as well. He coming off the bench and coming straight into it, which was great.
And you've brought number 2 on.
Yeah.
Can you tell how you recruited him?
Yeah. So Dan's he was in our university second team originally, and he just popped up on the scene, and I didn't know about him or anything, and then all of a sudden, everyone kept calling him Big Dan, Big Dan. I'm like, who's this Big Dan? And I'm like, okay, let's go down to second team practice. And I'm like, okay, Big Dan, yeah, I understand now. So, and Dan played at the free school in the States, and I think he come over to finish off his undergrad. And I was like, Dan, do you want to come play first team basketball? And he was like, yeah, for sure, I'm in. So yeah, someone Big Dan, he really helped as a backup to Lee for us this year.
And he still is Big Dan, even though Lee's around, isn't he? I've seen Dan walk.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And there's another chap for UEL on the line right now, Jordan Whelan, another standout player for UEL. How are you looking to guard him?
Yeah, same sort of thing really. Disrupt him, try and not let him have some open shots, because we know that he can get going from free. And make it uncomfortable for him as much as possible. Because him and Brandon are their main go-to guys. So we're aware of that, and we know what he can do. So for us, it's really disrupt him, make him uncomfortable as much as possible during the game.
Do you ever try multiple matchups on him?
Yeah, well, the way that we played with our four guards on defense, we predominantly switched all them. So everyone switched, and then obviously in that situation there where Brandon was, we switched on him and he got it in the post. We were looking to front after that, So for us, we wanted to switch, be aggressive with those guards, and then we've got different coverages for when Dan or Lee are in the ball screen from there.
And can you shed some light on those coverages if Dan and
Yes. So when we had Dan and Lee in there, we would mostly ice. We called it push, to try and keep Dan and Lee around the rim. So yeah, we'd try and ice and keep the ball on one side of the court. And then if they snaked off the ice, we would look to kind of switch late, and then try and switch back if there was a pass from there. So veering, no, it's called veering. So we'd look to, if they did snake off that, switch and then switch back later on in the possession.
And is that ice in the middle of the floor as well, or just at the side?
Yeah, so we would try and drop Lee and Dan around the rim, and then it's one of those things where we wanted to try and, like I said earlier on, tough twos, get them to pull up from the mid range, and take those shots.
Something I noticed early on, you turn and talk to your bench a lot. Is there a reason for that?
Yeah, they may call me crazy, but yeah, I sometimes I just have to get something off my chest, so I talk to them, and it might be garbage, absolute garbage, but it's something that I've done all the time, and I think it's just the way I am, I like, and it's one of those ones I like them to know what I'm thinking as well, and sometimes they might take it in, sometimes they might not, but yeah, it's one of those ones, and it's sometimes for me, I try and just I want to have fun with it as well. So if someone has a good play or something like that, I want to enjoy it as well. So that's what I turn around and talk to them about.
You try and be yourself when you're coaching.
Absolutely. It's one of those ones where I want to have fun with these guys. It's one of those ones. The basketball season is a long season. You spend a lot of time with your players and the people around the program. So I think I want to have fun with it as well. And if I'm having fun, hopefully these guys are going to have fun as well.
Just going back to your offense, you run a lot of drives across the top for a handoff on the wing.
Yeah.
What's your intention?
So yeah, that was our pitch action. So what we wanted to try and do was try and get like a downhill attack through the middle with players like Austin Butler, Zero Marsa, number 20. Sam is great at this as well. So we wanted kind of these actions for guys to attack through the middle into the lane. And what it does is it causes a little bit of confusion with the defense. Do they switch? Do they stay? So yeah, it was our pitch action, and we were really successful off it when we got the right people attacking down the middle like that.
Off that pitch action. What are you expecting the other guys to be doing? Spacing the floor?
Yes. So my other guards would space out, and then and then the big would either hold their position or circle under away from the ball. So yeah, we would look to attack and then kick from there and play pupper out of it if we can.
I love pupper. If I've got anything out of it, that's great, right? Yeah. Okay, so away from home, you're up 26-17. Happy?
Yeah. Extremely happy. Against UEL, absolutely. Yeah, we had a great first quarter.
Do you have a defensive target, numbers-wise? Keeping them under 20, for example?
Not necessarily numbers-wise. What we try and do is we try and look at knockouts, and our knockouts are 3 stops in a row. So we try and we kind of count how many stops we get in a row within a quarter. So we're looking to get 2 knockouts a quarter if possible, and then we know that we've had a good kind of defensive quarter in that sense. So yeah, knockouts is what we look for.
Mm-hmm. And what are your principles feeding into those knockouts? What are you looking for the guys to do?
Yeah, it's the same thing. Disrupt and kind of stealing time as much as possible. Same thing with that, really. Constantly putting them under pressure. I don't want a team like UEL to be comfortable. Because once they're comfortable, that's when they start to get into a rhythm. And good players will start to make big time shots. So for me, it's make it as uncomfortable as possible.
And you really come out strong in this game. You start off first quarter really well, and you start the second quarter really well as well. Compliment to the guys there, or are you preparing them well?
Yeah, well, I think it's all the guys. They're coming out with confidence. We had a couple of good wins in the Bucks prior. I think it's one of those ones where we've got to feed off that confidence that they've got, and let them play with a bit of freedom. At this time, I'm not really trying to do too much. I'm just allowing them to play. Like that possession just there, kick, open free for Jordan. Go out and play with a bit of freedom.
Mm-hmm. Another early timeout for UEL.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. So talk about one of your best players, Sam Newman. What are you looking for him each game?
So yeah, with Sam, he's unbelievable player in the sense that he plays with confidence throughout the whole game. Even though he's maybe some games he may not be having a great game, you can always rely on him to come out and do something. Sam, he can really shoot the ball from free. He's a great passer out of a ball screen. He's long. He can really disrupt on defensively. So yeah, really for me, Sam, I want him to come in, shoot some shots, make some passes, and keep that tempo high for us.
Mm-hmm. And just talking about other personnel on your team, you have 3 Americans.
Yes. Yeah.
Swain and Howe. What's the recruitment process with getting them?
So yeah, it's one of those ones where we reach out to them. We've got a couple of guys that I kind of trust to help find Americans that are interested in coming over to study and play. It's actually funny. Austin and Tim Howe went to the same school as Jace, who's on the UEL team as well. So there's three players in this game from Whitman College, all playing. So yeah, it's crazy, really, all 3 of them coming back together and playing against each other and playing with each other. So yeah, but yeah, it's a case of we try and bring these players for them to study, come in and get their masters, whilst coming to play on our team.
Mm-hmm. Right. Just going back to your 2-2-1. UEL did well there to break out of it and scored in transition. What are your transition principles getting back out of the 2-2-1?
So yeah, what we want to try and do, if they break it, what we want to try and do is flood back as much as quickly as possible. So in that sense, they got it down quite low below the foul line. The last defender, what I say is go to the ball, to stop that shot or that drive, and trust the fact your guys are going to flood back behind you and get back to protect the basket. So yeah, if they break it, it's kind of like flood back into the paint and pack the paint as quickly as possible.
And what's a signal that has been broken? Is that a pass to the middle?
Well, it's for us. It's if it gets below our second line of our
Okay.
of our 2-2-1. If it gets to the middle, it's not too bad, depending on which player catches it in the middle. If it's a big that's caught it in the middle, fine, kind of let them have the ball. We can disrupt around it. So yeah, really, it's if they get past the second line of our 2-2 of our first 2 guards. Yeah, it's kind of like flood back, because we've got basically going to have a 2v1 against our big.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I love the way you're on offense. Love the way you play on offense. It's catch drive, isn't it? It's not catch hold. It's catch make a decision instantly.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a lot of we do a lot of dribble drive stuff. In our practices. Advantage disadvantage stuff. We want to play as quickly as possible, make fast decisions. Throughout the whole game. Because for me, it's one of those ones where as soon as you can get that advantage, exploit that advantage and keep that advantage. You're either going to have it on an attack or you're going to have it then on a kick. So yeah, if we can play like that throughout the whole game, it's difficult for them to defend.
Mm-hmm. Now you're going quite deep into your bench. Do you want to get guys in early?
Yeah, it's one of those ones where we try and we had a mentality this year called the lumberjack mentality. I won't go into it too much, but it's basically when it's time to work, we come in and work, and when it's time to rest, we rest. So when it's your time on the court, give it your all, give it your 100%, because your guy who's sitting down on the bench will come in and do a job, and kind of back you up. So it'll give you time to go and have a rest, and then come back on once you've had your rest, So yeah, we have that mentality kind of set within us. So when it's your time to come and work, come in and work and do your job, essentially.
Great. Yeah, you're doing, as we talked about, great start to the game. And as you can see now, UEA are in a 2-3 zone. How are you looking to attack that?
So in the 2-3, we'll run our kind of Dallas action, which is like a continuity action where we have a flashing guy come into the middle, and then it's kind of the three other guards are spaced out whilst our big is staying low. So we're trying to stretch the zone that way and get it to the middle and then back out again. A couple of times in this game, I think we creeped up a little bit from the back with kind of Dan and Lee, and our flashes weren't as kind of fast as they need to be. You know, if we flash in there quicker, we'll be able to get the ball inside and then back out again.
Is that the
So
shot you want from the short corner?
I wouldn't say it's my most favourite shot, I guess, but I mean, it's one of those same things again. If you're confident and you're in that time where you want to shoot that, okay, take that shot. In a 2-3 like this, I'd be looking to kind of get a little bit more ball movement, get the zone shifted a little bit before we take an early shot like that.
Okay. As you can see, Lee is sitting on the subs table. What's the rationale of bringing him? Just rotation?
Just rotation really. Get him back in, and it's one of those ones. Once again, Lee's presence. You know, the defense maybe shifted a little bit more to Lee. You know, look, can you see how low Lee is there? Which gives us a little bit more space. You know, with our guards playing, we just stepped out there. But I mean, yeah, that was good spacing by us, and having Lee down there maybe give us a little bit more presence offensively.
And do you want him to creep under the backboard to create more space?
Yeah. What it is what we try and do is get Lee to stay or the big to stay low, and then if we can pass the ball across the top, that will kind of shift the zone up, and then they'll kind of forget about Lee, you know. And then if we can move the ball in a way, they'll forget about Lee, and then Lee will be open at some point, you know.
When you can shoot as well as you can, it's, to have him in the low and shooters outside, going into a zone is going to be difficult to manage.
Absolutely. And the thing is as well, in the zone, if it's the same thing, if when we take that shot, can we offensive rebound? Can we all get in there and rebound the ball to try and put the pressure on again? You know, there's nothing worse for me in the game of basketball than a team getting an offensive rebound and then a dagger free straight away. You know, and that's one of the things that we said is if there's an offensive rebound, look to get that free straight away. You know.
And do you have rules on who goes for the boards?
All five guys go after it. Yeah, it's one of those ones where we had that. I tried to instill that mentality into what we were doing. All five guys go after it, but if you think you're caught out or you're delayed, don't just stand there. Do one or the other. Go after the ball or go back on defense. Don't just stand on the 3-point line. Go after it or get back on defense. You know.
And you bring Tom Childs back in. Can you talk about him as a player?
Yeah, and Tom is TC. He's been massive for us this season, and for the past years he's been with us. You know, he comes in and gives us that bit of stability. You know, he's solid, shoot the free. He kind of helps manage and run the team. You know, he's kind of the second coach of our team. You know, so yeah, he's a great player for us all season.
Sure.
You know, he came on. He's come on massively as well, shooting the ball much better. You know, and he's more of our kind of he's our floor general in a sense.
Stability is exactly what I wrote down. You look at his stats and it says 2 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, and you might be like, well, who's this guy? But he does so much more than what the stat sheet says. Brilliant at the top of the 2-2-1, and like you said, I think a great point guard, great pass first point guard.
Absolutely. And the thing is with Tom is he can really get going from free as well. So, and it's the same thing. If he's confident, he will keep shooting that ball, and that's what I want him to do more of. You know, when you're in that zone, you know, set something up for yourself. You know, to get the ball back to you.
What's it like playing down in UEL? Do you enjoy it? I remember when I played at Brunel, we used to travel to UEL, and I always thought the atmosphere was going to be tough. It's going to be a tough game. Those guys in your face, and now they've added Will Ashby on the mic. It makes it even more of a.
Absolutely, no. It's a great. They're the games that you want to play in, with like a big crowd like that, with the atmosphere and music, all those sort of things. They've definitely it's improved from what they used to have, definitely. But I think it's right now it's one of those games that you're looking forward to all season, going down to UEL and trying to do the business down there.
For sure. And just someone else I wanted to point out, Dan Morton. Um,
Mm.
is he deliberately guarding Peel right now? Because his defense in the last couple of possessions have been fantastic.
Yeah, it's the same thing really. What we're trying to do is all those four guys will switch,
Okay.
but Dan is defensively. He was probably our best defender. Actually, he's been our best defender for the last few years. Gets his body in the way of parts, in the way of driving lanes. He's stocky and sturdy. He can rebound the ball really well. For me, Dan is kind of the one of the first players on the team sheet.
Hmm.
Just from that sense, and then he can shoot the ball as well, really well. Hustles. Yeah, Dan, and he's been with us for 3 years now, so he knows
Mate, but
kind of me, and he knows the way that we play.
yeah. No, I just thought he has good size. I thought that physicality was a deliberate for Peel, but right, like you talked about earlier, you're still playing into your system.
Yeah, and that's it. It's one of those ones right now where obviously we're up, and it's one of those ones where we didn't want to change anything really. It's the same thing. We're playing with freedom, playing aggressively, defensively, keeping to what we've done for the past few games already. So yeah, let's just keep with that really.
On the past couple of plays, or I did want to talk about this point. You have great dialogue with John here.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you enjoy that with the referees? I know John's
Hey,
John's a special character, and I.
yeah. Well, the thing for me is, I think I want to. It's the same thing. I want to enjoy the game, and I think the way that I can enjoy the game more is if I have good dialogue with referees. Because I think it's one of those ones where I don't want to be shouting or hollering at referees.
Yeah.
I want to be talking to them like a human being.
Mhm.
And I think sometimes it's one of those ones where if you communicate in a way where it's civil like that, it's gonna help you in the game. And ultimately, referees are humans. They make mistakes. They've got emotions. So I think it's one of those ones where if I can have good dialogue with them from the get go, it's like that understanding of, look, we're in this together. In this game.
No, I think that's a great point. Especially dialogue with John is always fun. So
Yeah, absolutely.
you're up 54-34. Well, you're now up 57-34. Your halftime discussion. How do you keep guys focused? You're up 20. There's still a half to go.
I think for me it was upon reflection and really looking into it, I probably didn't emphasize what we done well enough. What I just pretty much said in the locker room was keep doing what we were doing. Being up 20 away from home at UEL, was keep doing what we're doing. But then at the same time, you got, I think, a little bit more dialogue about what we're doing well would have helped us in that situation,
Mhm.
because later on in this game, as we'll see, is we kind of come away from what we were doing well. So I think maybe I need to do more within that. I'm not much of a talker anyway during pre-game and half-time talks. The guys will vouch for that. I don't talk too much. I just try and get across the main points. But I think in this game, I should have really emphasised a bit more what we were doing well.
Okay. Just and starting the second half, your starters were on. Is that
Mm.
kind of normal? Do you normally just go with your starters, or if someone's hot, you're going with them?
No, normally I just bring the starters on. We go with, like, as in it's starting a new game, and especially in this game, we're up. We started the game well with that group, so yeah, absolutely keep the starters on. this one and carry on with the way that we were playing. But yeah, I normally just come back in with the starters to get the balance of the rotations as well.
Mm-hmm. Now they start the second half really well.
Yeah.
10-4 run in 3 minutes, and you don't call a timeout.
No.
And I found it quite interesting that you didn't call a timeout in the first half. What triggers a timeout for you?
Mostly, I try not to use timeouts as much in the game. I try and let the guys try and work out what they need to do. I think for me, the main thing that triggers timeouts is runs, is runs in the game. I think at that point, like we started off the game by hitting a free, and then we've just hit another free there. So it's one of those ones where in my head, I'm thinking, okay, we're going to start to get going here again. The guys will start to understand what we need to do. So yeah, I try and limit the timeouts. I want the guys to try and work out what's going on within the game.
And you try and keep some for the end game.
Yeah, absolutely. I always try and keep them for the end. Obviously, if you're being blown out or something, you may have to bring them in early to try and get the game back. But I mean, it's in this game right now. I didn't really see the need to stop what we were doing at that time.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And are you happy with, like, as you can see, Sam is talking to the ref right now. Are you happy for players to have dialogue with referees as well?
As long as as long as it's in the right way, I think it's a more you got to be aware of what they're saying as well. I think sometimes there isn't a need. There isn't a need, but I mean it's one of those ones where if you're aware of the player and aware of how emotional they can get, 100%, I think you should allow them to talk. But then at the same time, it's one of those ones where if that player is an emotional player and gets tied up with things, maybe it's get them away from them as quickly as possible.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Now your offense is drying up a little bit. How do you look to attack now? Because you've got fantastic threats outside, as we've discussed. You've got a fantastic big inside as well with Lee. How do you balance feeding Lee and then attacking from the outside?
Yeah, I think what we needed to do at this point was probably go to Lee a little bit more to kind of relax us down a little bit, and get him more touches of the ball, and then play with good spacing from there. I think we were trying to rush things, and I think we are just trying to overthink things at this point. And for me, it's look, can we maybe get the ball to Lee a little bit more to kind of slow us down, and get us back into our rhythm.
Can you remember that conversation with Lee? Is that what you were saying right there?
Yeah, I think it might have been something like that. Can we get the ball to you? And I think I actually said to him, "Why don't you go and be a bit more aggressive,
Okay.
yourself?" Yeah.
And what's that? Calling for the ball or getting in pick and rolls?
So when he catches it in the post, don't necessarily look to pass. Can we get the ball to you, and can you go to work yourself?
Mm-hmm. Okay. People, when he's in that spot there, people are like, some people are like, what's a big guy doing out there? But his ability, his passing ability, he's a threat out there as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, he can really pass the ball. Lee can, he sees things before they happen sometimes. And I think that's his years of playing. Him being at the top like that, he can really see cutters. And then him coming off into a handoff. A big body, he rolls hard.
Mm-hmm.
So he can be a threat from that point for sure.
Great chemistry guy as well, isn't he? Really
Yeah.
well.
Oh, absolutely.
Now, interesting point as well is, and it leads into your spacing principles you were talking about earlier, but you seem to run a lot of mid pick and roll. Um, is that for that attacking drive you were on about earlier with the handoff?
Yeah. So we're looking to try and attack the middle as much as possible. We try and lead it into a kind of our final action would be a kind of a step up screen with Lee in it, and Lee roll into the middle, and then we've got good spacing from there really. So that's our kind of go-to end kind of action, out of our 4-out spread motion that we run with.
Mm-hmm, for sure. And something something else I really like is the patience you guys seem to have. The shot clock's running down at times, but you're sticking to your principles. Now, this is a tough question, but how do you teach patience?
Um, yeah, it's tough. I think it's the thing is for us, we had a very experienced team, in terms of playing. We've got three guys that have played collegiate basketball. You've got Lee, you've got Sam, you've got Tom, that have played a good level of basketball. And them playing in this game, I don't think phased them too much, and I think them knowing what's on the clock and knowing what they can get at the end helped with that.
For sure. I don't know if you saw on the scoreboard. Then it's 5-0 to you. Well, it's now 6-0 in the foul count.
Yeah.
Are you considering adjusting your style of play, or are you trusting the depth of your squad?
100% trust in the depth, and it's one of those ones where I don't want to change up too much. I want us to continue with us putting that pressure on them. And it's one of those ones where I trust the guys on the bench. I trust those guys coming in. If I need to rotate someone out, I'll rotate them out. The next guy will come up and step up. So yeah, I didn't want to change that. I wanted us to stick with that and just keep being destructive.
So with the disruption, you're happy with fouls occurring? Is it a deliberate tactic to be aggressive and foul, or is fouls just a natural of you playing an aggressive style of defense?
I think it's just a natural thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think we will just foul just because that's the way that we're playing, and it's kind of one of those ones where we've got to accept that we will foul at times.
Mm-hmm.
And I think as long as we know that, we won't we won't get emotional about it during the game.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as we know that, look, we're playing this aggressive style, that's fine. We can deal with those situations if we get called for fouls.
Mm-hmm. That's another aspect of Butler's game that I noticed: his ability to play inside.
Yeah.
He's a guard, but
Mm.
later on you see his presence inside as well. It's fantastic.
Yeah, Austin won't shoot many threes, but the thing with Austin is he's like the fox in the box. He just knows where to be at the right times. And he will finish and he will score. He's got a knack of being in the right place at the right time.
Mm-hmm. Now, that was your first time out of the game. 4 minutes 28 to go. Can you remember what you said? Do you remember why you called it?
Yeah, I think we were actually getting to the point of a few guys. I think earlier on the guys were starting to stand up a little bit and get involved with the referees a little bit. I think it's one of those ones where obviously to stop a run, but then at the same time, can we calm ourselves down a little bit? Let the refs do their thing, let them play. And we just got to focus on what we're got to do, because as soon as we get into that game of the ref this, the ref that, slippery slope.
Mm-hmm. Your plan worked because you go on a 15 to 12 run to finish.
Yeah.
So yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, I think it's one of those ones, being aware of obviously what's happening on court, but then also what's happening off court with your bench as well, and making sure that that we know that we've got to stay locked in throughout the whole time, and the guys on the bench will be coming on at some point. So if they are locked in and making sure they're not so emotional, they'll be ready to come in and play.
And you talk about emotions. Sam gets a foul and then a technical.
Yeah.
How do you manage that?
I think it's a case of. I think Sam in this game, I think he is one of those guys where he wanted to beat this team, and I think that is a big thing that comes into it. And I think it's one of those ones where I always do. Yeah, I subbed him here. Yeah, I subbed him.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's one of those ones where look, sit out, be ready to come back in when you've calmed down a little bit. And I think it's one of those ones where I think he knew that he at that time he got a little bit. It went over what he really needed to be, and I think it's one of those ones where he stayed locked in because I think he was sitting he came and sat on the bench.
Mm-hmm. So
And he didn't.
you have that dialogue with him and make him aware, calm down.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just and I think it's one of those ones where he's there and he knows that he'll come back into the game at some point. And it's not like his game's done, but he will come back in at some point. So yeah.
I love your love how charismatic you are on the sideline. It's brilliant to
Yeah.
see. Do you ever think I need to calm it down, or are you quite happy with how you are?
No, I think it's well. Sometimes I think it helps me stay locked into the game, rather than like me getting involved with referees and stuff like that. I like to have fun, I like to have fun with the guys. I like to have fun with the way that we're playing, and it's, yeah, I guess I'm just like a high energy guy, I like to be involved. I want to play.
Do you ever feel in at times when the guys need a bit of composure, you feel like, all right, okay, I need to be composed now? Um,
Yeah, absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely. It's one of those. It's that thing again. That awareness. Can you be aware of when you need to be high energy and when you need to be relaxed and taking your own kind of time out, essentially, of the situation. So yeah, I think if you can get that balance between both, that really helps within the game.
See you again talking to John. It's brilliant.
Yeah, it's just well, I think John likes it as well.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. I agree.
I think if you can get that dialogue early doors, it really helps with going down the stretch in the game. And it's one of those ones where I try not to be. I just try and be myself with him, and I think if you could be authentic like that, not just talking to the referees, but with everything, it helps. I'm not trying to be somebody else. I'm just being myself again.
Sure. Now, momentum is well and truly with UEL right now. They've got an offensive board. Um, how do you? What's going on in your head? How are you going to stop that momentum?
Um, I think what we needed to do was be a little bit more patient offensively,
Yeah.
and try and just slow the game down a little bit more to what we're usually used to, because we were up and stuff like that. So I think we needed to slow down and just get back into the game, get our rhythm again, get our spacing, um, exploit Lee, use Lee in the ways that we know we should. So yeah, I think it's a case of we needed to slow down in the game.
Butler does a great job of taking the scoring load at the end of the third.
Yeah, absolutely.
When someone's hot, do you are you think should I run plays for them, or are you letting the game just come naturally?
No, I think we are trying to look for them. We're looking for different actions. So if Austin's starting to get hot, we'll try and get him in that pitch action. We'll try and get a bit of dribble drive and then get him attacking the rim. So yeah, we definitely try and read the fact that when someone's hot and someone's starting to get a bit of rhythm, can we go back to them?
Mm-hmm. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you flood back quite well there. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
I was just about to say that is is it all five in the paint, or is it one person on the ball, one guy stopping
Yeah,
the dribble,
I think it's really we want to try and this is that pitch action. Sorry.
into Butler as well? Look,
Into Austin, yeah, getting him to attack downhill, and yeah, so
did you watch the game back?
yeah, I'd love to. No, I think it's for us is yeah, we want to flood back and protect the paint, and then we kind of ID guys there, and we recognise where the offense is, and we match up from there. Really good spacing. I would have taken that shot, Tom, you see, because that would have been a good shot for us. But Jordan has the confidence to take that tough too. I'm like, okay, take it. Um,
Within your four out, one in, are there opportunities for guys to go one on one? Are you happy with that?
Yeah, I think it's if you can see the advantage, go and take that. If you can create an advantage, and especially with players like Austin, Marsa, like Jordan, Sam, they're very good at attacking the basket, and beating their guy initially. So 100%, if you can create that advantage on that 1v1 initially, take it.
And as you Butler again,
Mm.
feed the ball into Lee and a cut through the key afterwards. That's great.
Yeah. This one, yeah, we just get a little bit lazy there. If Jordan could just do his work a bit earlier, we would probably nullified that one.
Mhm. You remember what happens now?
So,
It's a great end
Oh
to the
yeah,
quarter.
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. See, I would have probably taken that shot, but I mean, Rory can hit big shots like that. You know, he's hit that all season long for us. He's hit big shots coming off the bench like that, and then for National League, you know, big. He's been our MVP for the season. You know,
Yeah.
in terms of what he's been doing.
So 78-60 going into the fourth. Again, how are you managing guys' emotions so they don't become too complacent?
Yeah, it's the same thing. Really, we try and stick to our guns, stick to what we've been doing well all game. You know, guys that are on the bench, you know, this get good opportunity for me to talk to them, for the guys to reassess. You know, so I think yeah, it's really just for us to try and stay locked into what we've been doing well all game.
Something I try and do with my guys at the university is similar to what you do with knockouts, do it with kills, and to keep their momentum, I try and say set them a target of kills. I was just
Yeah.
wondering if that's something you do with knockouts.
Um, it's, for me, it's one of those ones where I try not to set the target. I think it should be one of those ones where it's instilled already that we trying to look for those 2 knockouts for that quarter
Mm-hmm.
straight away. So I think it's one of those ones where it might be I take a timeout and be like, look, this is where we need a knockout. You know, this is where we need to get these 3 stops in a row and then get 3 good offensive plays, and then we're kind of back in the game. We've got our offensive rhythm, you know, and we're back to being solid. So maybe during a timeout, that's when I'd say, look, this is where we need to get a knockout.
Mm-hmm. Something I know we've talked about how great your 4-out-1 in is, and definitely is great. But with UEL's lineup of 2 bigger guys, do you consider going 2 bigs yourself?
Yeah, I did think about that, but it's one of those ones where I don't necessarily like to do mix it up with what we haven't practiced. Like we didn't really practice too much of having 2 bigs, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So it's one of those ones where if we had 2 bigs, what's our 3 other guys spacing? You know, what's that? So we didn't necessarily practice that too much because we only really had Dan and Lee as our bigs, and then we had Mayo and Femi this year who aren't really bigs. They're like threes for us,
Mm-hmm.
and they stepped up to play big at times. But I mean, it's one of those ones where I don't like to try and put stuff into the middle of the game that we haven't really necessarily practiced.
Mm-hmm. Now you're quick to bring Charles and Swain back in.
Yeah,
Can you remember why you did that?
I think it was stability. You know, give us a bit of get us back on track to where we're playing. I think they went on a bit of a run, you know, and I think for us is get 2 experienced guys back into play, and the guys that were give us a little bit more stability at that time. So yeah, I think that was the
And
thing
as you
behind
can
it
see
there.
now, UEL are in a 3-2 zone. Are you
Yeah,
looking to attack it in the same way you were looking to attack the 2-3?
yeah. So we'll try and we'll run Dallas with our spacing again. But we will try and mix it up with we have a kind of an exchange action as well, which gives us kind of a corner 3. So yeah, we'll try and mix it up a little bit in this sense with a 3-2 and a with exchange. Out of a 2-3, we'll run Dallas mostly.
Okay. And is within that action, if the ball is fed to Lee, um,
Mm-hmm.
as we know, he's a great passer. Are there certain movements you want to see?
Yeah, so so the guy that's kind of flashing through the middle, what we want them to do is dive hard to the basket.
Okay.
So when they dive hard to the basket, hopefully then that will open up a gap on the weak side for someone for a shooter or for Lee to go to work himself potentially.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if there's someone in the middle, we want them to dive hard and then everyone kind of be pinched and ready to shoot the ball.
Okay. It really is catch and shoot, isn't it? There's a license to shoot. It's great.
Yeah, yeah. See, for me, that's a good drive and kick
Yep.
right there. It's just Rory come off there. TC's on the break here.
That's a foul.
Yeah, for me, it's where for me, Tom could have attacked the basket more there rather than stopping. You know, in that situation, can you attack the basket, put them on the back foot still?
And is that something you'd say to him in a game, or would you leave it to a review afterwards?
I'd probably review that afterwards, especially in a game like this where it's quite intense, I'd probably leave that one for the film room afterwards, and we'd probably look at that and say, look, this one, try and attack the basket a bit more. I know Master's cutting through there, but yeah, we'd look for that one to after the game.
Okay. Now, I found this really interesting, and you talked about how your guards switched and they could end up not pretty much on anyone, but on another similar person in their position. And a few times, Sam ends up guarding Peel, and he's in foul trouble. Do you
Yeah.
then consider not switching as a result of that?
Yeah, I think in this game, actually, I think Sam said, I want to take Brandon.
Okay.
In that sense. So I was like, okay, if you've said that you want to do that, and you believe in that, fine. I believe in you that you'll go and do that, and that you won't foul and you'll be disruptive. So I think it's one of those ones where I try and give them a lot of freedom to make decisions, offensively and defensively in that
Mhm.
sense.
Now they're fast breaking. You're not really scoring at the moment. Is the tactic to feed Lee again? And
Yeah, I think it's one of those ones where if we can feed Lee, slow the game down, get fouled ourselves,
yeah,
get to the free throw line, and slow the game down. Give us a bit of a breather, rethink about what we should be doing, and obviously if Lee can knock down these free throws, we're into our 2-2-1, which then should stop them on a fast break situation, so yeah, I think it's one of those ones that if we can feed Lee and get fouled, that really helps.
does it work on a miss? 2-2-1?
Yeah, it does. It does. We should be set still. We should still be set. So if, for example, in Lee in that situation there, his job would be just to get straight back. However, if Lee wasn't in the foul shot there, he'd be back already. And then we just go into that kind of square there with that 2-2-1 with the guards at the front.
Okay. That's a great pass.
Yeah, and that's what Sam can shoot, and he can really see the floor. He's really got good vision.
And that's Dallas working perfectly, right?
Yeah, so Lee's nice and low, with that spacing. So yeah, it's one of those ones where they kind of forget about the big, because they've got these guys moving at the top there. Yeah, tough shot. Like we know Brandon's going to take them and make them. So it's kind of you got to live with it a little bit. But it's one of those ones. Can we be a little bit more disruptive so he doesn't get that clean catch and shoot situation?
Now, correct me if I'm wrong here, but it does look like you are in a 1-3-1. Um,
Yeah.
do you want the guys to notice that for themselves, or are you calling out that guys are in a 1-3-1?
Yeah, initially, I want them to see it. And I
Okay.
want them to try and make that decision on what's in front of them. But then obviously if there's a few possessions and they're still in it and they haven't seen it, it's one of those ones, okay, maybe this is time for me to step in and say, look, guys, have you noticed this? They're in this. Can we run this action? To try and defeat that zone in that sense. So I think it's let them try and make that decision initially. And then if it hasn't after a couple of possessions, can I step in and maybe help out in that? So like Sam said to me, oh yeah, I'm probably one of the longest guys here with Austin, and Austin's out in this situation. I think he got fouled out. So Sam was like, okay, let me take Brandon and let me be as disruptive as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So this is that exchange action there, and we get an open three
Huge
from
three as well.
Sam. Yeah, I think that really got Sam going as well. That really helped down the stretch. Yeah, we can't let him have middle, and that's right there. We should be keeping him to the side there.
Are you trying to send baseline? Is that?
Yeah, we try and keep them out the middle. We try and it's a thing that we call guard our yard. Our yard is the middle, so try and keep them out of there and keep them sideline baseline.
So that's not a show. It's not a show baseline, is it? But it's
No, it's just a little bit of our body position, and it's one of those ones where we know that we're trying to send them that way, so then our defense can rotate in the correct way. We try and keep our body solid, so then we can't, so then they don't have the middle, and then we're not allowing them to have baseline, but that's where we're trying to get them to go to, so then our defense can rotate. So yeah, like Jordan's body shape is wrong there. He should be keeping them to the sideline.
Darlow for Sam there.
Yeah, you could just see Sam. He's controlling himself, but it's just to reiterate that and make sure he stays locked in.
He's a great thinker. Really thinks the game through. And
Yeah,
sometimes I say it to him: trust your guys, think for yourself. But no, he does a great job of reading the game and has a good basketball IQ.
yeah, absolutely.
As you can see, he can make big plays, which are coming up soon. Um,
Yes, absolutely. Yeah,
Now, I don't know if something else you recognise from watching this game back, but you had 9 deflections. Is
yep,
that a measurement of success for disruption?
yeah, definitely. We try and look at the deflections and try and it's one of those ones where it's disrupting their offensive rhythm. They're not catching it in a straight catch and shoot. Are they catching it around their feet? Those sort of things. And once again, that's part of stealing time. Deflections and taking time off the clock for them.
Mm-hmm. Now, Peel's on fire a little bit. They're looking to get him the ball in the post.
Mm-hmm.
Any temptation to trap him?
Yeah, it's one of those ones where I had that thought, but once again, it's one of those we hadn't practiced it. But at the same time, it might have been worth us putting that in just on a couple of possessions, to mix it up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I was just keeping to my guns with the fact that we haven't practiced it, so don't put it in essentially.
So, what would you have looked to have done if you had put it in?
I probably would have doubled when he had it in the post. Him having it, and then when he takes that first dribble, uh, double from the weak side.
From the okay.
From the weak side. Double from the weak side there, and then just everyone sink in and try and cause a tough pass out of the post. And get it out of his hands.
Mm-hmm. That's another
Is
great
that exchange?
on that. You had the slip of
Yeah, with Lee, we needed to hit Lee there for sure. And that's what happens is they kind of overplay to the corner, and then Lee opens up, and we've got to be confident enough to make that pass inside.
Mm-hmm. How are your emotions right now? Can you remember them?
Yeah, I was okay. I think I was okay. I was thinking, look, we've worked so hard to get to that point, and we kind of is it going away from us now? But I think it's one of those ones where the experienced players in our team, we stuck together in that sense. We stuck together. We stayed locked in, and I think we kind of prepared a little bit for it in practice. With I look back at our practice plan, and yeah, we knew it was going to be a tight game.
Mm-hmm.
So we played a couple of games during practice. With these sort of scenarios.
And is number 20's not on the floor? Butler, I think Butler was in foul trouble, but
Mm.
he considering bringing Swain back in?
I think he got fouled out himself. I think
Okay.
Austin and Marcel were both fouled out at this point. So yeah, it was two of the more experienced collegiate players were out, but it was a good opportunity for people like Jordan and Rory, TC to step up and come and play in this game. So yeah, I think it was good for them, But yeah, to lose them two at this game was difficult. Two starters as well.
And do you reflect on that? Do you think, I should have managed them better, or are you trusting them to manage themselves?
No, absolutely. It's one of those ones where should I have got them out earlier at that time? Should I have switched it up? Maybe even gone into a zone to stop being disruptive in those sort of areas. No, definitely. I think it's one of those ones where I should have maybe managed them a little bit better upon reflection.
Mm-hmm. That's a great cut from Sam there.
Yeah, yeah.
Shot clock running
Strong
down.
finish.
Mm.
Yeah, and this is what I love is look, we've got positive touches, as well. We know that we've still got a long way to go in this game.
What's that mean? Can you just elaborate on what you mean by positive touches?
So yeah, just kind of high five throughout. Try and get as many high fives and kind of touches like that throughout the game to show that we're all in this together. Still.
That's great.
We try and get as many positive touches throughout the game as possible.
Caution unsportsmanlike there.
Yeah.
shots on possession.
Yeah, Lee's pretty solid from the foul line as well, so yeah, it wasn't too bad for us.
Love the way he walked off then. Yeah, mate.
Yeah.
The atmosphere as well was picking up from the fans. They really get into
Yeah,
it.
definitely. Yeah, I think Will gets a little bit lively on the mic as well.
They've done a great job turning it into a real entertaining, more than just a game, basically.
Yeah, definitely. So this is Sam. He kind of controlled this possession, which was really good.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
That's a tough call. So are you wanting, coming down to the end, are you wanting your two best players in a pick and roll? Is that coming out of the offense a little bit, or do you want that pick and roll to come naturally?
I still want it to come naturally, but I think it's one of those ones where we were getting it. We knew that if we got it to Sam and Lee, you know, we would be successful in those scenarios. I think it come out naturally, but I think in that last play, Sam kind of took the lead with that. You kind of saw him take the lead with the ball, you know, get the ball back to me, you know, we played from there, which was great to see.
Yeah, you need your big guys doing that.
Yeah.
It's getting close now. Did you think you were going to be this close towards the end of the game?
If I'm honest, no. At halftime, I didn't. No, I didn't think. I didn't honestly. With the way that we were playing, I thought, wow, this is going to stay like this sort of game, you know. But then for them to come back like this and stay with us, you know, and put us under that pressure to get back into the game, you know, credit to Uriel and Dave to get us to that point, you know.
I think this is quite a big point in the game now. 92-90 to yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so we've got Sam. So Sam's picking up there. We're trying to get Sam to do his work early. No easy catches, but this is a tough shot by Brandon.
Sure.
You know.
You call a timeout. And you advance the ball. What's your reason behind that?
At this point, 92-90 even game, and I actually said in the timeout, "What do you want to do? Do you want to advance it and go for a quick shot? So then then they've got a 24 second possession, you know." And we actually looked at that zipper pitch action in practice, you know. So they kind of seen it, and I'd seen it already. So it's kind of like, okay, I've seen that. We've made that shot. Let's go to that now. So yeah, it was one of those where I asked them, said, "What do you want?" She'll go for the quick free, and yeah, it was obviously played out wonderfully. And then great bit of defense here with Sam on the inbound, using his length to stop them getting the inbound 5 second call. So yeah, it worked out amazingly for us in that sense.
I love the fact that you asked the teams. You were in a pressure mode. You haven't got long in a timeout, and you took the composure to ask them what do they want to do.
I think it's one of those ones where if you can ask them and they believe in it, you know, they're more likely to it's more likely to happen, you know, rather than me drawing up something, doing this, doing that. And once again, it's one of those ones where we practiced that exact action before, you know, so why not go back to it? So yeah, I think it's that belief. They have that belief in going out of the timeout to go and execute, and that we've seen it before.
Now you're up 5 now. Do you consider fouling them and putting them on the free throw line, stop them shooting threes?
Yes, yeah, we would consider it, but they got out of that one quite quickly there, and I think the foul, yeah, we would consider it to get them to stop them from shooting the threes essentially, and basically us getting the possession back, you know, so then we can get the ball and then foul again and trying to be in control of the situation.
Good free throw shooter.
Yeah. So here, so we're kind of in control here of the game because Um, obviously, we were up, you know, and we're trying to. They were on the foul line there, and we get the rebound.
I remember
Getting Rory at the foul line, which is great.
I
Rory's
remember
good
watching
fouler.
this game back, and watching this game at the time. And when you advanced the ball, I said to Tom Sadler behind me, I didn't understand, because I thought you're then giving them more time on the clock.
Mm-hmm.
But then
Yeah,
from advancing the ball, you are definitely giving yourself 2 possessions and them only 1.
yeah,
So yeah, it
exactly.
worked, and it worked.
Exactly.
It worked fantastically. So I remember
Yeah,
the
it's
shot.
one of those ones.
Oh, sorry, the shot goes in, and Tom just grabs my shoulder. It's quite funny.
Yeah, I think it's one of those ones where we were definitely, it was the 2 possessions for us, and the fact that Sam was making those shots in the game, you know, and it's kind of, look, Sam, go out and make a play for us at that situation, you know, zip a pitch. That's the action we want to look at. Okay, yes, you were deep, and it was a deep free, but that's the shot we were looking for, a quick free, and then try and be in control of the game.
Yeah, well, Sam, he shot 7 of 15 from 3 that game. So
Yeah,
but huge win down in UEL.
yeah.
You must have been really pleased.
It was unbelievable. It was great for us to continue the run in the Bucks there. We had a couple of good wins prior. And it was I think it was the first time we've ever beaten UEL.
Oh, really?
Ever. Yeah. So yeah, it was great. It was great to get that win there.
And the manner in which you won as well. 27 assists, 5 guys in double digits. Everyone coming on and having a fantastic contribution. It's got to be a personal highlight of yours.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's definitely one of our best games of the season from Bucks and from National League. You know, for us to get 27 assists, you know, showed that we were sharing the ball, you know, and for guys to come in and contribute and get a good point spread, you know. So yeah, it was really, really good game for us.
Okay, brilliant. Well, that was awesome. Really enjoyed talking through the game with you. I enjoyed watching it at the time. I enjoyed watching it back, and it's even more of a pleasure to talk through it with you. So thank you very much. I really appreciate your time.
No, thank you, Mike. It was great to get back and reflect on that myself. You know, it got me thinking a little bit more things as well. So, and I think you're doing a great thing here. I think this is a great concept. So yeah, I'm looking forward to listening to the other guys on it as well.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Mike.